Hey everybody, you're listening to We Still Like You, the show where we occasionally gas up and bus a bunch of drunk people for a mass pee at the Rock and Roll McDonald's, R.I.P. Oh, and tell each other shameful stories about the terrible people we really are.
Leave all your alcohol on the bus. We've got about 5 minutes. Everybody go pee if you need to. Get some fries if you want to. If you hate this show, you can leave, I guess. But you're not getting your money back.
Beep beep, it's our annual holiday trolley show, where we take our usual shame-based storytelling to the streets.
Every year this is a bad idea, but so far we're 3 for 3.
If we are missing anyone, I'd hate to leave anyone in McDonald's bathroom. That's my literal worst nightmare.
If you're new to the show, here's how it works. People tell their most shameful stories. We forgive them with a cheer of "We still like you!"
Yeah!
Then we make them drink gross liquor. This show is just like that, but on a moving vehicle.
You guys are under a lot of pressure because if you don't laugh, this takes a hard right into this traffic. I don't own the trolley. I don't give a shit. So
Your conductor for the evening, Mr. Matt Riggs.
I got to really pay attention to driving.
I'm Jesse Batend. Welcome aboard. Our first story this week comes to you from comedian Dave Helem. Before becoming a full-time comedian, Dave was a high school teacher. In this story, Dave comes face to face with the pure innocence of childhood.
Hey, how's everybody doing? I'm Dave. I'm a functional alcoholic / comic, but in LA, I have a comedy fan who she's in a wheelchair, but like not handicapped because like of a disease, like she got ran over by a bus, right? So she doesn't have legs, right? So true story, she was on The Price is Right, and she won a prize, and they gave her a treadmill, right? And then she's just like, she's looking like, what the fuck are you like? Okay, like it was a great moment, right? So this is bad. Okay, like should I keep going? Like this is okay. All right. 2 years ago, I stopped teaching high school to do comedy full time. And I would get really fucked up as a teacher. I would get so fucked up as a teacher that sometimes I couldn't teach, right? So this story is about the night. It was a Thursday night. I did Parlor Car, which is a great show in Chicago, and I'm fucked up. And I said, you know what? Let's go to the Horseshoe. Fuck it, you know. So I go play poker, have a great time. I sleep in my car. I wake up, it's like 5:30, but I gotta work in the morning, right? So I don't have time to go home and shower. So I go to my stash in the back, which is like clothes for nights like this. And I get to school and I'm reeking. And my principal wants to be like real chatty. He's like, "Hey, good morning, Dave." I'm just like, "Oh, I can't talk because I smell like whiskey, but I gotta say what's up because it's my boss." And I just wave. And I'm like, And then I walk past one of my students in the hallway. He was like, he was like, "You stink," right? And I was like, "You smell me?" He said, "Dude, you smell like my father," right? So I get to class. I'm trying to teach. I can't teach. You know why? Because I'm still hungover from drinking, right? So I came up with a game there's a game that I saw play at an old comedy club in Chicago called Jokes and Notes, right? And they had an improv night. And the game that they played at Jokes and Notes was a game called Secret Roast. Secret Roast is a game where you would give like a person in the audience an index card, and they would have to roast another person that was sitting in the audience that night. And audience members would have to yell out the person who they thought was being like roasted. So I said, you know what? Let's play that shit, right? So I played it with my students, and right. And it's only one rule with Secret Roast: you can never name the person that you're roasting. You can only describe what's fucked up about them, and the other kids would have to like, they would have to yell out the name of the student who they thought that it applied to on the card, right? And So I had a kid that was in a wheelchair, right? And I didn't tell the other kids to like not fuck with him because like in my mind it's common sense you don't fuck with kids in wheelchairs. But I forgot that my kids on the west side of Chicago are bad as fuck, right? So there was a card that I read out loud. I didn't understand what it meant, but I got to read it. That's the game, right? And the card said he looked like a half transformer, right? And I'm looking around, I'm like, who in the fuck is a half transformer in this class? Well, I don't even know what this shit means, but then they start pointing to the dude in the wheelchair, right? And it's fucked up, but at the same time, like, it's genius, like for them to be on a third grade reading level and come up with some shit this amazing. I'm excited, right? So, and the dude in the wheelchair is he's like, Mr. Helem, really? You gonna let this happen to me? And I'm like, fuck. All right, so I gotta fix it, but I know who did it because I know my students, right? So, and this is a true story. So I called him up. I said, Quantavious, come here for a second. So Quantavious comes up, and I'm like, look, as a 21-year-old sophomore, right? I expect way more from you. And he was like, oh, Mr. I'm sorry. He's like, did I take it too far? I'm just like, what the fuck do you think, right? So you said tell a shameful story. I feel like I'm getting dark right now. Like I realize I need it right now. Okay, thank you. Like you said go dark, right? I'm being so judged right now by you said tell shameful stories.
Dave Helem. Up next, Bobby realizes that his friends can't be trusted. So there's this rule in journalism that if you notice something 3 times, you're allowed to call it a trend. So like if you see 3 people with black eyes, you can be like, having a black eye is the new cool thing. It's kind of a stupid rule. Because in the next few stories, like, a lot of cats die, and that's not what we're about. Anyway, from Chicago, here's Bobby Buds.
It's like Inception on this bus, man. Hey! Okay. Oh, okay. Hello. Okay. Ow, Jesus fucking Christ, man. I'm trying to tell my story. I also worked for this tour guide company. I one time got an email saying that I talk about hot dogs too much on my tour, so whatever. This is probably the worst thing that I didn't necessarily do it, but I was like, what's that word? Like an alibi? I was connected to it, I guess. I don't know. Accessory, yeah. Accomplice, yeah. Fuck words. Words are for crossword puzzles. This is real life, you know. So. I'm like, this is when I was like 20 years old. Before I was doing stand-up comedy, I was a fucking scummy I still am a scummy person, but it was a lot worse before I started doing it. And what made me I always wanted to do stand-up comedy, but to get in all the open mics in Chicago, you have to be 21, and I was 20 at the time. And I wasn't going to spend like $200 on a fake ID to use it only for 6 months. So there was one day I was riding my bike home from, I think, like improv class or some dumb shit like that. And it's not dumb if you do it. It's dumb for me, though. And I was riding my bike down, like, Waveland Street or something, and all of a sudden I just see this white square on the ground, and I see it's an ID for just a white dude who doesn't even look like me, but he's white, so it got by every door guy in the neighborhood. So I got into every open mic I could do. I was pumped. I was able to do open mics. Now, also at this time, my friend is watching his girlfriend's aunt's apartment, which is in West Rogers Park neighborhood in Chicago, very Jewish neighborhood. It's in this building called the Winston Towers. Is anybody aware of these buildings? It's all old people and Jews that live there, and my 20-year-old scumbag friend was living there for about 6 months. Now, we're going over there, and we just get like fucking stoned as shit there. We party there. We just have a fun time. Now, he had a dartboard there that we started playing darts on, and we were like, oh my God, this is fun, fucking throwing darts. It's sort of destructive. And then we went from throwing darts to the dartboard to darts at the wall. And then those darts turned into knives. Yeah, we were practicing our knife throwing skills just in case the Renaissance was coming or something. And then throwing knives at the walls turned into throwing candles at the drawers. And yeah, we destroyed the kitchen, we destroyed the living room, we destroyed the whole fucking apartment. We turned it into a party house. Now, I also at this time, I was 20 years old. I was going on the birthright trip, which is this if you're fucking Jewish, they send you to Israel for free. It's fucking tight as shit. Yeah, I fucking made out with a broad in Tel Aviv. Shit was awesome. And so I was gonna leave my fake ID or my ID that wasn't mine at my mom's house, but I wasn't gonna do that because my mom was probably gonna go snooping around my room. She would have found it, would have been a big hassle. So I just left it at my buddy's apartment, which was basically trash. Now this whole time that I was hanging out there, he would have drug dealers, drug users come by the place at like 2 a.m. So already all of his neighbors were getting suspicious. And they were already trying to call the cops on him, but technically he was doing nothing wrong. Now, when I was away in Israel for those 10 days, he got kicked out of that apartment. And I don't know how this happened, but this apartment me and my friends trashed was on the 14th floor. And they said on the ground, in front of what was supposed, like if the room was like 1408, great movie. If the room was 1408, they found this in front of room 108. So on the bottom floor, on the cement ground, they found a dead cat. Yeah, so yeah, that shit's fuck. Hey, I wasn't there for that. So if you're from PETA, suck my dick, okay? I wasn't there for that. I was in fucking Israel. Bombing innocent kids instead of innocent cats. So that's how my fake ID got taken away. Now that's bullshit because what I wanted to do, my 21st birthday was coming up in like 3 weeks or whatever. What I really wanted to do, I wanted to get like because I had the guy's like address. I was gonna like write his address down and his like name or however you fucking mail shit. I don't know. I'm a millennial, and I wanted to send that back with him. With a $5 bill saying, hey, man, thank you for all the fun times. But I couldn't because my friend got kicked out of his apartment for killing a cat. And I felt worse about the guy that I couldn't give $5 for than the cat that died. And I was already getting like sort of just like, breaking shit was a lot of fun. I sort of cut ties with the guy that after I found out about that cat, I sort of cut ties with the guy. I was like, yeah, destroying the building is one thing, but killing a cat that's not very good. And that's when I was like, yeah, I gotta mature on with my life and do stand-up comedy. Yeah, and that's my story, I guess.
Bobby, as a Chicago tour guide, what can you tell us about this area?
Oh man, I don't give a shit. There's some dumb building right there. What? Oh, yeah, the Eastland died there. Fucking the guy that George Hallis said, the guy that started the Bears was supposed to be there. I don't know. The Bears suck. It's been like
Comedian Bobby Buds. Coming up, David Drake tries to save a life. Our last story for today comes to you from comedian David Drake. David did the Trolley show back in 2016, and he told this story about performing emergency surgery in Thailand. From Chicago, here's David Drake.
Hey! Oh my God! Thank you guys for having me. Give it up one more time for yourselves for getting on this trolley. I got a story about giving a C-section to a cat. But before I tell that, I had a shameful moment like on my way to the trolley, so I was going to share that real quick. I got caught staring at this guy's crazy hand on the subway, and he got mad. He's like, "What are you looking at?" He's like, "What am I looking at? You got like a turtle hand, but you're a human being." You know, I pass a lot of hands in my life, and most of them aren't a flipper. So I had to take a look at this. You know, why are you mad at me? You know, I should be mad at you hogging one of life's little mysteries. You know? I thought that was like a fun little shameful thing on the way to the trolley. So the story, gave a C-section to a cat. This happened 2010. I was gonna do some community work in Thailand. I know this is a story about being a piece of shit, but hey, we're not all a piece of shit. Someone's got to be doing the community work. So I went there with my buddy Mike, and we were supposed to work with schools because that's the kind of community work that looks good on Facebook. You know, like you playing soccer with a bunch of ethnic kids. That's like. Oh yeah, that's a timeline photo, baby. Yeah, that's what everybody's looking for with the community work. That sweet soccer photo with ethnic kids, or you building a library or something. You know what I mean? So that's what I was shooting for. But then on the way there, this is a long story, but I'll make it quick. This woman who was she was assisting on this vet clinic that specialized in neutering cats and dogs because they have so many crazy stray cats and dogs in Thailand. The woman who was in charge of like running that vet clinic, she just died. And so like the people who were sending us over, the group, they were like, "Hey, we need help here, so we're just gonna send you guys. You're gonna go help in the vet clinic." Me and my friend Mike, and we're like, "Oh no, bummer." Operating on cats and dogs does not look as good on Facebook, and it was an absolute nightmare. The first week we got there, they sent us to this vet clinic on this island, and the first week we were there, I had to amputate a dog's leg. Right? I had to assist in amputating a dog's leg. And I have a degree in creative writing, so I passed out immediately. I was watching this guy inch bolt cutters toward an extended dog leg, and my brain was like, "Oh no! That's horrible! Take a nap! You're a sweet boy. You don't need this in your life." Out cold. Out cold, man. And I woke up dog leg in the trash. Like the trash. Like, I don't know where I thought dog legs went, but not the trash. I don't know. You take a dog's leg out, you think like you dig a grave or like put it in a shrine, but it's like just sitting next to the half-eaten sandwich I had before I passed out. You know, it's like horrific shit. But like every nightmare, if you live it long enough, it becomes normal. So after about 2 weeks, I was assisting in these surgeries, these basic animal surgeries. I was doing it. And this 1 week, I was working the front desk when this woman, she brings in this really cute cat, awesome body, okay face. If we're being real. This cat was a hard 8. Just to be clear, I don't fuck cats. I know this is, but if I did, it'd be fine. This is we still like you, right? I'm just saying, if you operate on enough ugly cats, you appreciate the good-looking ones. You know what I mean? This is neither here nor there. This woman brings her hot cat, and she lays it down on the table, and she's like, "Hey, this is a pregnant cat, and we can't get the kids out." She says something like that. And then I say something like, "Don't worry about that, man. We'll get the kids out." And then we brought the cat into the operating table, and the vet there, he started operating on the cat, and I was helping him out. And we gave the cat a C-section, and then we pulled out 4 beautiful baby kittens, and then we started, woo-woo! Hey, they got out! We got him out! Then we stitched up the cat, and then the vet, he had me immediately start rubbing the kittens all over the mom cat because that's something you have to do, all right? I'm giving you guys a crash course in cat C-sections, all right? If you ever find yourself giving a C-section to a cat, I don't know when this will ever come up. I don't know if you guys ever want to be vets, or maybe one day you'll just see a cat and you want to have some fun, all right? But here's how you do it. If you're giving a C-section to a cat, you got to rub the kittens all over the cat because C-sections aren't, natural to cats. So you got to trick the cat into believing that these are its kids. You know what I mean? Because the cat is under anesthesia, and then it just suddenly has kids, and they don't believe you. They get real Mario-ish. They're like, these aren't my kids. I don't know these kids. I don't know you. They don't know me. You know. But if you rub the kittens all over the cat, then it's like, you got me. All right, these are my kids. You know what I mean? You got to rub the kittens all over the unconscious cat. So that's what I'm doing. I'm just rubbing cats on cats for like a long time. Like, I felt like I was trying to erase the cat with cats. But I'm just rubbing them all over this cat. And I do it for as long as I feel is necessary to do that. And then I line up the cats next to the mom. And then I go to lunch because you still got to eat no matter where you are until you're dead. So I went to lunch. While I'm at lunch, Snowball, the cat we operated on, she wakes up, she sees the kittens I lined up next to her, and she eats a couple of them. Hey man, I wasn't happy about it either. Eats a couple of cats. I don't know if I didn't rub them on her long enough or what the deal was, but she woke up hungry. She ate these cats. And we walk in, and there are 3 less cats than there should be. And Snowball is acting like there is nothing wrong. She's like, were there more cats? Oh, purr, purr. I only see a couple cats. I was like, Snowball, what have you done? You're a monster! I called you a good kitty, but you're a bad kitty. Good kitties don't eat other kitties. You're a defective cat. This cat's broken. This is a broken cat. It belongs in the trash with the dog legs. So what we ended up doing is we had to take the kittens, the remaining kittens, away from Snowball because Snowball is a bloodthirsty monster. But the sad thing with cats is they need their mother for nutrition. They can't get it from me. You can't milk me. So we gotta eventually try to make the kittens and Snowball be friends again, right? So what we did is we would take a kitten and we put it in the cage and we'd be like, hey Snowball, you're not gonna do anything weird with this one, right? That was just a goof earlier when you were eating all your young, right? You're not a bloodthirsty monster. And of course Snowball was like, slash, kill, eat, you know? She was a true monster. It's not a good system because you don't really change anything. All you do is you cross your fingers and hope the nightmare's over. It's like we tried to feed the kittens by throwing them in a wood chipper, you know? Just like, is the wood chipper, did it raise it? Oh no, it's wood chips? Oh, okay. Well, let's try again. And eventually Snowball killed and ate them all. Oh no! Dave, why did you tell us this? Why did you tell us this horrible story? I told you this because this experience ruined cats for me, and I hope it did for you too. Cats are pointless evil that we allow to live in our homes, sleep under our bed, and puke in our shoes. They don't need our help. If you want a pet, get a dog. A dog. Dogs will sleep next to you. You know, like if you die, a dog will lay next to you until it dies. You know, I'm saying all this from the perspective of a person. I own a cat, right? My cat does not give a shit. Like my cat will start eating me after a long nap. You know, like I'm woken up and found Calvin just nibbling on my fingers. Just like, oh, you're alive? I thought you were dead. Purr, purr, just fucking around. Hey, take out my butthole, right? I got a butthole, right? Sure, I tried to eat you, but look, butthole, we're even. In conclusion, I did end up getting to work with, after this whole nightmare, they're just like, hey man, you know what, this is kind of, I told them, I was like, this is kind of intense for me, I just wanted to work with kids. So they sent me to this place on the island where they had me paint a kid's library, children's library. But like I said earlier, I have a degree in creative writing. I've never painted anything before, and apparently it takes skill. I basically destroyed a children's library with paint. I ruined this library, and this little girl came up to me, and she spoke 7 languages. And I was, she asked me how many languages I speak, and I said, 1. I don't know. 1. She's like, oh, only 1? But you went to college? I was like, yeah. She's like, in America? I was like, yeah, I went to American college. And she's like, you went to an American college, and now you're a janitor in Thailand? I'm like, no, I'm here for you. I volunteered to be here. She's like, you're a janitor in Thailand for free? I was like, oh shit, little girl. I gotta go home. And I did. With cats under my belt and a destroyed library. All right, thank you so much. Goodbye. You guys, keep it going for David Drake, everybody.
David Drake. If you haven't heard it yet, go back and take a listen to David's amazing story about being sabotaged by technology. That was on the We Still Like Technology podcast from way back towards the beginning of this show. And speaking of dates, David's new comedy album, Sorry Mom, is out this month on iTunes. If you enjoyed his story, make sure and check it out. And that does it for this episode. If you like the show, jam that subscribe button and maybe leave us a review. If you listen to a lot of podcasts, you've probably noticed that a lot is happening right now, right? There's like a new podcast series every day, and more media companies are getting in the game and making their own podcasts. And frankly, I think that's awesome. I honestly love podcasts, and I'm really excited to see what talented people can make with just a little bit of funding behind them. But that also means that amateurs are going to need every bit of help they can get, right? We are competing with people who make this for a living and have money, and just like tell a friend about us. Seriously, like the most powerful thing you could possibly do is just be like, hey dude, have you heard this show? I like it. You'll like it. Listen to it. If you really, really, really want to help the show, you want to support us, maybe with a little bit of money every month, check out patreon.com/we still like you, where you can get cool stuff in exchange for a small monthly donation. In the meantime, I'm Jesse Pretend. Thank you for listening. Welcome aboard. That's a really bad sea captain. I think sea captain is not the way to go. So welcome aboard. Like normal person. Welcome aboard like I would say it. Welcome aboard. I don't